I have in here cream of mushroom soup that I made up and threw in. Cream of mushroom soup, there again, goat milk will work, okay? This thermos, I bought it from EMS, is a wide mouth thermos. Now you might not want to carry this the whole thing, but I'll tell you, if it's cold weather and you want something really good for lunch, this is the way to go. And it doesn't take up much. It's not really heavy. It doesn't take up much room in your pack. You stick it in there. You have a hot soup for lunch. It's heaven. What I do for protein, and as I said, I'm very big on protein. My idea of nutrition on the trail is this. You are going to be out there for 6 months. You cannot afford to go on some strange diet. You've got to have a diet that is what you eat at home. So, instead of, like I talk about in my first book, I talked about trail town food and trail food. The town food is what every hiker wants to get when they're out on the trail. And the trail food is what they have to put up with while they're on the trail. Let's merge those two together. Let's erase that distinction. There's no such thing as backpacking food anymore. You've got to eat like you eat at home. And that was the premise of my food. Also, I like the zone diet, and I don't know if you've ever heard of it. A book came out in the 90s by a guy called Barry Sears, and he wrote about the zone diet. He said, here's how you eat for optimum health. You take, this fruit smoothie is a balanced zone meal. You take your proteins at 7 grams, you take your carbohydrates at 9 grams, and then you take your fats. And he talked about 3 grams of fat per block. He calls them blocks. And you put them together, okay? Now, you don't have to go into much detail and much research to get the benefit of this kind of diet on the trail. All you need to do to remember is this. When you eat something, combine it with some protein, okay? So, when I made my soups, I didn't put any in this soup, but so I'm looking for protein sources that are packable. Knox gelatin, one of these little envelopes of Knox gelatin, one of them has the same amount of protein as an ounce of meat. There you go. You can't get more compact than that. And I put it in anything hot, cocoa, tea, any meal you have. If you don't have a meat source, you can use several of these. I mean, but you've got to clean up your pots really well with these. But I use this for my soups. And what I do is I make the soups, put in all my ingredients, and then I stir in a package of this. And it stays hot in the thing, and it stays fluid. And it doesn't add any flavor, but it adds kind of a smoothness to it. It's really good. Okay?
What's that called again?
It's called Knox gelatin, and women used to drink it to, your nails, Knox gelatin for your nails. It was a big fad a while ago. However, now look, you can go do shopping in an Amish store, or we could talk about food all day, I tell you, because there's so many sources for food. I got this in an Amish store, and you know how much I paid for it? $6.59, and it was a 0.7 pounds. This was $8 in the supermarket. It's not cheap. No good food is cheap. You can't afford cheap food. Let me tell you, especially when you're hiking. Now, Barry Sears, let me get back to Barry Sears for a minute. Because what he did was, he wanted people to eat this way, and you calculate your lean weight, and you calculate how many blocks you need a day, and all this kind of stuff. He tested this diet on endurance athletes, the Dartmouth swimming team. They improved their performance because they could access their body's fats, and they did not lose their body muscle. They didn't eat up their own muscle. You can gain muscle through this diet, but you have also access to your fat stores. When you eat something that's very sweet and you provoke, talking about provoking an insulin response, it locks those carbohydrates away, whereas you have to be starving in order to get to them. Now, I know how successful this diet is because I've tried it myself every time I go backpacking. And when I was doing the AT, I remember going, it was like, I think I started in mid-March, and this was early April, and I was at Arden Mountain. I started in Pennsylvania, so I was at least out for a month, enough to be hiker hungry if I were going to do that. So I was going up Arden Mountain. It was toward the end of the day. I said, I'm almost out of water. I better get some. I didn't. So at the top of Arden Mountain in New York, and it's a kind of a long mountain, I was benighted, not knighted, but benighted, and I had to stop and make camp. I had very little water, and I didn't want to eat anything because when you eat something, it demands first you use water to make the food, and then you need water to metabolize the food. So I didn't eat anything. I was not hungry. I was not uncomfortable. I slept the night. I got up very early and went down and got water and made breakfast. That would never happen if I hadn't been able to access my body fat stores easily. So it works. I tell you, it works. Okay, so we got our things done. We got this done. This is dessert. I also want to talk to you about other foods. Look, you can buy sun-dried in supermarkets. This stuff, and I found this at my local health food store. It's gluten-free, organic black bean spaghetti. Now, let me show you this, talking about the zone. So, 1.5 ounces, which is 1/4 of this particular package, gives you 16 grams of carbohydrate, 0.5 grams of fiber, 20.5 grams of protein. For a pasta, yes, this is amazing. Now, in zone terms, the 16 grams of carbohydrate are basically 2 blocks. We said 9 grams, it's almost 18. For the protein, it's almost 3 blocks of protein. So we said 7, so it's 21. So this will give you an extra protein. And what you can do with it is, of course, you have your spaghetti sauce, there's your carbohydrates. So you have your balance. I have a wheat problem, so I use this. But they make it in soy, mung bean, and black bean. I think the black bean's better tasting. They all have the same protein to carbohydrate ratio.
Are you going to be able to find something like that on the